Sign it, or you'll never see any of us again." My brother Raymond slid the paper across Mom's kitchen table. My sister Patrice stood behind him, arms crossed, blocking the door like I might try to escape. The document would sign over my entire inheritance, $280,000, to them. "You don't deserve it," Patrice said coldly. "We're the ones who stayed." I looked at the two people I'd grown up with, the brother who taught me to ride a bike, the sister who braided my hair for school pictures. Now they were trying to rob me at my dead mother's kitchen table. What they didn't know was that I had spent 20 years preparing for exactly this moment, and the karma I was about to deliver would destroy everything they thought they'd built. My name's Lorraine. I'm 52 years old, and I was always the family disappointment. At least, that's what Raymond and Patrice decided when I was 17 years old. See, I got pregnant my senior year of high school. The father was a boy named Curtis who disappeared the moment I told him. It was 1989, small town in rural Georgia. Getting pregnant at 17 wasn't just a mistake, it was a scandal. My parents were humiliated. My father barely spoke to me for a year. My mother cried like I'd died. Raymond was 21 then, already working at the local bank, building his reputation. Patrice was 19, heading to nursing school. And I was the cautionary tale, the one they whispered about at church, the one who ruined her life. I had my daughter Michaela in March 1990. I raised her alone. I worked 2 jobs, waitressing and cleaning houses, while my siblings went to college and built careers. When Daddy died in 2005, I drove 8 hours from Alabama to be at the funeral. Raymond barely acknowledged me. Patrice told me I was embarrassing the family by bringing Michaela, who was 15 then. "She's Daddy's granddaughter," I said. Patrice just looked at me with disgust. "She's the reason you threw your life away." I left the funeral early, drove back to Alabama crying the whole way. For the next 18 years, I saw my family maybe 5 times. Holidays when I could afford the gas, Mom's 70th birthday, a few funerals. I was the ghost daughter, the forgotten one, the cautionary tale they used to feel better about themselves. But here's what Raymond and Patrice never knew. While they were busy being successful, I was building something too. Camila was the best thing that ever happened to me. She was smart, driven, everything I wished I'd been at her age. She got a full scholarship to Auburn University, graduated top of her class, became a software engineer. By 2015, Michaela was making more money than Raymond and Patrice combined, but I never told them. They never asked. To them, I was still the teenage dropout who cleaned houses. I kept cleaning houses too, not because I had to. Camila offered to support me 100 times, but because I liked it. My clients became my friends, and I was good at it. I also saved every extra dollar for 30 years. No fancy cars, no vacations, just a small house in Mobile, a reliable truck, and a savings account that grew slowly but steadily. But when Nom got sick in 2022, I drove to Georgia every other weekend to help, 8 hours each way. I'd clean her house, cook meals for the week, sit with her while she complained about her aches and pains. Raymond lived 20 minutes away. He visited maybe once a month. Patrice lived 45 minutes away. She called on Sundays, sometimes. But when Mom needed help getting to doctor's appointments, "Lorraine, can you come? We're so busy." When Mom needed someone to manage her medications, "Lorraine, you're better at that stuff." When Mom needed her diapers changed after the stroke, suddenly nobody was available but me. For 2 years, I made that drive. I used my vacation days. I spent my savings on gas and hotels when the drive was too much to make in one day. Raymond and Patrice did nothing, but they had plenty of opinions about Mom's money. "We need to talk about the estate," Raymond said during one of his rare visits in 2023. "Make sure everything is divided properly." "Properly?" I asked. He didn't even look at me. "Between the family, the real family." I knew exactly what he meant. Mom passed away on February 2nd, 2024. She was 81 years old. I was holding her hand, just like I'd been holding it for 2 years while Raymond and Patrice were too busy. The funeral was tense. Raymond gave a eulogy about what a devoted son he had been. Patrice cried and accepted condolences like she'd been there through it all. I sat in the back with Michaela and said nothing. But 3 weeks later, we gathered for the reading of the will. Mom's attorney, Mr. Dawkins, was an older black man with kind eyes and a calm voice. He'd known our family for decades. He read the will carefully. Mom had left her estate, the house, the savings, everything, to be divided equally among her 3 children. The house was worth about $340,000. The savings totaled $180,000. After debts and expenses, each of us would receive approximately $140,000. Raymond nodded, satisfied. Patrice was already calculating. "There's been a mistake," Raymond said. "I'm sorry?" "Lorraine shouldn't receive an equal share." Raymond's voice was calm, like he was discussing the weather. "She abandoned this family 30 years ago. She barely knew Mom. Patrice and I were the ones who actually took care of her." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "That's not true," I said. "I drove here every other weekend for 2 years. You visited occasionally. That's not the same as being here." Mr. Dawkins looked uncomfortable. "The will is very clear. Wills can be contested, and they can also be renegotiated among family." He turned to look at me. "We're prepared to offer Lorraine $20,000 for her share. That's more than fair, considering." $20,000 for 2 years of caregiving, for a lifetime of being treated like garbage. "And if I refuse?" Raymond smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. "Then we'll contest the will. We'll tie it up in court for years. We'll prove that you were an absentee daughter who doesn't deserve a dime. By the time we're done, the legal fees will have eaten everything anyway." He slid the document across the table. "Sign it, or you'll never see any of us again."
I looked at the document. Then I looked at Raymond. Then I started laughing. Not a small laugh, a real laugh, the kind that comes from deep in your belly. Raymond's face darkened. "What's so funny?" "You really think I'm still that scared, pregnant teenager, don't you?" I reached into my purse and pulled out my phone. I pressed play on a recording I'd started the moment I walked into the room. Raymond's voice filled the air. "We'll contest the will. We'll tie it up in court for years. Sign it or you'll never see any of us again." His face went white. "Georgia is a one-party consent state. I learned that from my daughter. She's an attorney now, by the way, works for one of the biggest firms in Atlanta." Patrice's mouth fell open. "Michaela is a lawyer? And a software engineer. She has 2 degrees, makes more money in a month than you make in a year, Patrice." I smiled. "But you never asked, did you? You were too busy pretending she didn't exist." I stood up. "Now, let me tell you what's going to happen. I'm not signing anything. I'm taking my legal share of Mom's estate. And if you try to contest the will, this recording goes to the probate court." Raymond found his voice. That's not admissible." "It's absolutely admissible.
And even if it weren't, I'd make sure every lawyer, every judge, and every person in this town heard exactly what you tried to do to your own sister at your mother's kitchen table." Mr. Dawkins, who had been silent throughout, cleared his throat. "I should mention," he said quietly, "that your mother added a codicil to her will 6 months ago. She anticipated disagreements." He pulled out another document. "If any beneficiary attempts to contest the will or coerce another beneficiary into surrendering their share, that person forfeits their entire inheritance. The forfeited portion goes to the remaining beneficiaries." Raymond's face was now gray. "Mrs. Lorraine, it appears your siblings have just forfeited their shares. According to this codicil, the entire estate now belongs to you." The room was completely silent. Then Patrice started screaming, "This is insane! You can't do this! Mom would never!" "Your mother did exactly this," Mr. Dawkins interrupted calmly. "She came to me in August 2023, very clear-headed. She said, and I quote, 'My older children are greedy and they've treated Lorraine shamefully. If they try to cheat her, I want them to lose everything.'" He looked at Raymond and Patrice. "She knew you, better than you thought." 12. Raymond tried a different approach. His voice became soft, pleading. "Lorraine, come on, we're family. I didn't mean what I said. I was just upset, grieving. You understand." I stared at him. This was the same brother who taught me to ride a bike, who used to sneak me candy when I was little, who had spent the last 30 years treating me like a stain on the family name. "You called my daughter a mistake. You said I threw my life away. You tried to steal my inheritance through intimidation, and now you want me to understand?" He said nothing. "Here's what I understand, Raymond. Mom saw exactly who you are, and she made sure you'd get exactly what you deserved." I turned to Patrice. "And you, Patrice, you told me at Daddy's funeral that Michaela was embarrassing. My daughter, your niece, a 15-year-old girl who had done nothing to you." Patrice was crying now, real tears for once. "I was young, I didn't mean—" "You were 19, old enough to know better." I gathered my things. "I'll be selling Mom's house. The proceeds plus the savings come to me now, all $520,000. I paused at the door. "You have 30 days to remove any personal items you want. After that, everything gets donated or thrown away." I walked out of my mother's house for the last time, and I never looked back. Module 7, Resolution. The house sold in 3 weeks. A nice young couple with 2 kids. I think Mom would have liked them. After taxes and fees, I cleared just over $480,000. I put most of it in savings. I bought a new truck. I took Michaela on a vacation to Jamaica, our first real vacation ever. I sat on the beach one evening, watching the sunset, and she asked me how I felt. "I thought I'd feel angrier," I admitted, "but mostly I just feel free." Michaela nodded. "Grandma knew, didn't she, about how they treated you?" "She knew. She just never said anything while she was alive." "Why not?" I thought about that. I think she was ashamed of herself, of not standing up for me. The codicil was her way of making it right. She saw me, Michaela. In the end, she finally saw me. My daughter held my hand, just like I'd held Mom's. 12. Raymond and Patrice tried to contest the codicil. They hired an expensive lawyer, claimed Mom wasn't competent when she signed it. They lost, badly. Mr. Dawkins had video documentation of Mom signing the codicil, clear-eyed, articulate, explaining exactly why she was doing it. The judge dismissed their case in under an hour. They spent $40,000 on legal fees, money they didn't have. Raymond had to take out a second mortgage. Patrice's husband threatened divorce over the financial strain. I heard through cousins that they blame me for everything. Sigh. Let them. Last month, I got a letter from Raymond. No return address, but I recognized the handwriting. You destroyed this family. I hope you're happy. I read it once, then I threw it away. He's wrong, of course. I didn't destroy the family. They did. 30 years of cruelty. 30 years of treating me and my daughter like garbage. All I did was survive, and then, when the moment came, I stood my ground. 12. I still clean houses, 3 days a week now, just my favorite clients. It keeps me busy, keeps me humble. Michaela visits every month. She's talking about having kids soon. I'll be a grandmother. Imagine that, the family disappointment becoming a grandmother. 12. Mom left me a letter, too. Mr. Dawkins gave it to me after everything was settled. My dear Lorraine, I'm sorry I didn't protect you when you were young. I'm sorry I let Raymond and Patrice treat you so badly. I was weak, but I'm trying to be strong now. You were the best of us. You just didn't know it. I love you, and I'm proud of you. Mama. I keep that letter in my nightstand. I read it when I need reminding. 12. My siblings demanded my share. They called me a disappointment, a failure, an embarrassment. But in the end, Mama knew the truth. I was the one who stayed. I was the one who cared. I was the one who showed up year after year, expecting nothing in return. And when karma finally came, it came for them, not for me.